as we even go deeper to just find out about IEBC. What is his view on the by-election that happened? Does he trust IEBC? Do Kenyans trust IEBC? And even as we proceed towards 2027, what needs to be fixed? What must be done? Will they be going to the courts? How will they be having these discussions? Bwana Rigathi, karibu as we continue to have this discussion right here from his premises in Nairobi.
Yes, Dennis, how are you?
Salama sana. It's been a while.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Uko salama lakini?
Salama, nashukuru, sijue.
Mimi niko salama. Niko mzima.
Nashukuru kukuona.
Thank you.
Yes, so Bwana Gachagua, welcome to this conversation that we're having. It is exclusive on KTN. And even as we start to have this discussion, right, we're just off the by-election, and the DCP managed to garner 3 seats. You know, you've said it is a party that has been there for 7 months and has performed well. But if we, on the converse, we look at other positions, better not, it was expected that DCP or the United Opposition would win Malava and Margarini as well. But just what's your view on the by-election? How would you rate it, as well as how would you rate IEBC?
Thank you very much, Dennis, and most welcome. I'm very glad to have KTN here with me tonight. Your station has gained a lot of respect from the people of Kenya because of being objective in telling Kenyans as it is. Your sister newspaper, The Standard, is now the newspaper of choice because of good editorial policy, of being very objective, being straightforward and telling the people of Kenya the truth. And I want to encourage KTN and The Standard to continue, because objective journalism is good for our democracy, it's good for our country. So I'm very happy to have you here. We have come from by-elections. That was a small dance. The main dance is here to come. And you know, there is a saying that you don't want to dance yourself lame before the main dance. I am more concerned about the main dance, the one for 2027, the general election. The by-elections have come and gone, and they don't reflect the political situation in the country, really. Malava was a sham, Bere was a sham. It was not possible to have a free and fair election in those two constituencies because of the level of violence by the state and goons. In Malava, some people are even, they silted their stomach and removed intestines. Some areas, skulls were broken and they removed the brain. And there was just too much violence in Malava and voter suppression. In areas where Seth Panyako was strong, goons under the supervision of police unleashed terror on the people of Malava. And even the candidate, Seth Panyako, was beaten up by police and goons. And IBC is just quiet. I saw them the other day do a post-mortem, and the chairman never even made any reference to the level and amount of violence that was seen in Malava. The same in Bere. We saw a cabinet secretary take over a polling station, beat up personally in the company of police and goons, overran a polling station, beat up the agents, beat up the clerks, the presiding officer, and went ahead to stuff ballots into the ballot box. And the IBC is unconcerned. And in Narok, myself, I was met with a lot of violence by police on the 24th during the last day of the campaign. Despite us having a scheduled rally in Narok town, the police barricaded all roads leading to Narok to stop me from getting to Narok to campaign for my candidate, Douglas Maskonde. But as it were, you know, I'm a villager, and a villager in his normal environment is very good. So I know my way around the villages. And the Maasai are also very good villagers. So with the help of the Maasais, they were able to map some routes for me to get to Narok. From Matulele, and I got to Narok in a helmet because stones were raining on me. Live bullets were directed to my car. There was just too much violence. So the by-elections really cannot tell you exactly the mood of the country politically, because the atmosphere of those by-elections was not conducive for a free and fair election.
Mr. GACHAGUA, you've raised allegations in terms of the violence that was meted on many during the by-election. You say that there was stuffing of ballot boxes, and with it one would hope that you would take these complaints to court or raise them with IEBC. Have you raised these with the IEBC? What is their response? Are you going to court to challenge elections in areas where you say there are problems?
I personally, where I had candidates for DCP, I'm not going to court. I put 5 candidates, one in Magarini, and we performed very well. We were credible second. Despite the irregularities, I think we did very well, and I'm happy with the outcome. I had a candidate in Purko Ward in Kajiado, a seat previously held by ODM. UDA was number 1. We came very close by, and ODM was a distant third, and I think we did very well. In Narok town, despite the violence, despite the voter suppression, despite voter bribery, and making it almost difficult to carry out the by-election, DCP won and beat everybody hands down. Again, we beat ODM, UDA, and all those other parties in Kariobangi North, in Nairobi, as cosmopolitan area. Again, we did very well in Kisa East, in Quisero constituency in Kakamega. I think ODM was number 9, UDA was number 10. We emerged victorious. And what it means is that, since we formed DCP was formed just the other day. It's only 7 months old. It's a very young party. But out of the 24 by-elections, we won 3. And to shame our detractors, William Ruto and company, they have been spreading propaganda that DCP is a tribal party, it's a party for the mountain. We won in Quisero. Quisero is 600 kilometers from the mountain. There are no mountain people who live in Kakamega. It's the Luya nation who live there. We won here in Nairobi in a cosmopolitan environment where all communities are. We won here in Nairobi. In Narok, our candidate was a Ma. It was not a Kikuyu. And the Ma people and the other communities that live there, subscribe to the philosophy of DCP, of listening to the people. Our party is listening to the ground. And what I want to say is that the by-elections give DCP an opportunity to show its national outlook, its acceptance across Kenya. And this is a party to watch, I can tell you. Yeah. And we've just come in. That was a very strong show for a young party. But as I told you, this was a small dance. Yeah. We are looking forward to the main dance.
As we look forward to the main dance, Mr. GACHAGUA, one would say in areas that you performed very well, you've heaped praise on the performance. That means it is an election as well that was carried out by IEBC. The areas that the United Opposition performed poorly, you say that election was rigged. One would say that is double speak, because it is the very same institution that carried out the election. I am not saying the election was conducted well we won. In Narok, it is the resilience of the Narok people that made that election happen. The officer commanding police station Narok was forced by the DIG to surrender command to Betty Maina, the women rep from Murang'a, and he said no. He was transferred to Turkana. You can check. The OCS Narok was transferred on the 24th, 2 days before the elections, because he was being told to cede police command to a member of parliament, and he said he cannot. The woman representative of Murang'a took over the police command in Narok. She's the one who was commanding police operations, and she unleashed terror to the people of Narok town. People were beaten up, people were injured, but the people were resilient. And especially when I went there forcibly, when the police were stopping me, when live ammunition was fired at my car, when stones were raining on me, and I was very brave and courageous, I gave people the impetus and the courage that they should not be intimidated. We won the election, but it was not a free and fair environment. It's really people fought, and exactly this is what will happen in the general election. I have no doubt in my mind. Kenyans will not agree to be suppressed by goons and police in 2027. I have no doubt in my mind. What I saw in Narok is what we want to encourage across the country.
In Kariobangi, there was a lot of violence and voter suppression. But the people there were determined. They wanted to elect a leader whom they want, and they did it. In Kisa, there was a lot of violence. So I'm not saying that in areas where DCP won, it was a fair contest. It wasn't. They won against many odds. In fact, in Narok, if there was no voter suppression, our candidate who got 6,000 votes would have gotten 12,000. But there was a lot of voter suppression, you know, intimidating women and young people to make sure that they don't go to vote. So what I'm saying is, why I'm not worried as a leader in this country, it is possible to intimidate people in a by-election using guns and police. It is not possible to do so during the general election. There are not enough guns to intimidate people in the country. Every gun will be in his constituency, and he will be dealt with by the local people. The police will have no capacity to escort guns to cause mayhem, because in a general election you need 2 police officers in every polling station. We have 45,000 polling stations in Kenya. You need 90,000 police officers. They are never enough. In fact, they borrow manpower from KWS and KFS. So what I'm saying, and I want to assure the people of Kenya, there will be no police officers to escort goons to come and intimidate you. So deal with the goons, and they will be dealt with, I can tell you. Even these goons are only a problem because they have police escort, who have guns, who have live ammunition. If the goons were trying to intimidate the people of Kenya on their own, they will be dealt with by the people of Kenya. But Kenyans, you know, start back a little bit, because normally they are backed. Like when we were at Kariobangi, when we went to celebrate our candidate, Wanyoike, for winning the Kariobangi North seat, the goons came to away by the Christians, only for them to come back under police escort. Police backed them with bullets, with tear gas. You know, police were tear gassing children and the clergy so that they can create confusion and allow the guns to attack our people. But if the police keep away, guns are not a challenge in this country. They will be dealt with by the people of Kenya in a very, very, very expeditious manner. So I want to assure the people that what they saw during the by-election is not possible in a general election. Nobody has that capacity during a general election to cause mayhem, to intimidate people, to do voter suppression. I can tell you the people of Kenya will make sure that voting is orderly, there is no disruption, there is no voter suppression, there is no interference. The people of Kenya will do so.
Mr. GACHAGUA, you said that in areas where you participated in election and lost, you will not be going to court. And in other areas where, say, DP in Bere, that is, you've distanced yourself, whether they want to go to court, yes or no. But how then do you distance yourself from United Opposition if all along you have been speaking the same language? Is it a question of where I did not have a member, it is none of my business? How then does that speak?
Every party is,
and how united it is.
Every party is distinct. We are united in purpose, in terms of getting a single presidential candidate to face William Ruto. That we are united. But we are not united in the nitty-gritties and the day-to-day operations of every political party. I went to Bere to help the Democratic Party, but they are in charge of their own operations. The DP leader, Justin Mutui, has told me they are going to court, and I wish them well. And it's important that they do.
Would you support him as it goes?
I don't need to support. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot help. But I think they should go to court, because what happened in Bere is unacceptable. From my own view, the UDA men who are recipients of the cash transfer program, about 7,000 elderly people in Bere were intimidated by chiefs, so they went to vote for that candidate under duress. And I want to tell our elderly, this cash transfer program is not a gift from William Ruto. It is money that is voted for by the National Assembly. It does not depend on the goodwill of William Ruto for you to continue receiving this money. I want to tell them as we go to the general election, because the chiefs were called the other day and told of the success of Bere and Malava, how the chiefs and Mbakumi intimidated elderly people who received the cash transfer program to vote for the UDA candidate, and they were told to people to tell their mothers and their fathers that fund, that program is not a gift by William Ruto to the elderly people. It is a government program These are funds that are voted for and appropriated in the National Assembly. They are from public funds, and they don't have to vote for William Ruto or his candidates for them to continue receiving that. In fact, if I'm elected president, and I think I will, I increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 because it's not enough. In fact, other than threatening these elderly people that if they don't vote for William Ruto, he will discontinue the program, what myself I'm telling them is that we must increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 to be able to help the old people. And it's their right. Even when they vote for me, it's not a favor. You know, it is their right as senior citizens in this country. And these are public funds. They are not from the president. They are not from his farm. They are not from his pocket. These are public funds. So our people should not be intimidated that if they don't vote for William Ruto in 2027, as the chiefs have been directed to go and threaten them. And I want to ask them to ignore those threats. And we'll be telling them the following 1 year, the whole of 2026, where we go, we'll be telling the elderly people, please, you must cast your vote where you want. You should not be intimidated by government that if you don't vote for William Ruto or UDA candidates, that this fund where you are given 2,000 shillings every month can be discontinued.
Now, so let's remain a little bit in Bere, and I want to look at a situation where, as you talk about the mountain, you have packaged yourself to be, one would say, the kingpin or the spokesperson of the mountain. And we look at the by-election and how much effort was put in the mountain, especially to win the Bere seat. But to look at the results of the by-election, and one would say, seems as if GACHAGUA does not have the hold of mountain, that the people have spoken otherwise, despite you coming out saying that you have mountain by your side, but results
I don't want to say I have the mountain. The people of the mountain listen to me. And to start with, UDA did not win that seat. I can tell you for free. Yeah, that election was buggered. UDA spent over 800 million bribing people. Ministers were there, PSs, heads of parastatals, goons. Even those people who are saying that they won, that they defeated us. Yes, they defeated us in bribing people, in stealing public funds to bribe people. That they defeated us. And they beat us hands down because, one, we cannot steal public funds, use of public funds to bribe people, voter suppression using goons and violence, where ministers were beating women. That's that one they beat us, we agree. But on the and these young boys who hang around him are juveniles, they don't understand the mountain. If they took time to study juveniles, they don't understand the mountain. If they took time to study the history of Bere, they will not be all over yapping and celebrating. Bere North is a constituency that was called Chicago. That constituency since 1992. On the presidential vote, they vote with the rest of the mountain. All other elections are a local affair because they have serious issues of clans and other local dynamics that are very unique to them. In the year 2002, Chicago, then Bere North, today, voted for Mwai Kibaki and a knock 98%. Nobody wanted to hear about Moi and Kanu. Yet the people of Bere North, Chicago as it was called then, went ahead to elect Justin Muturi and Kanu. In 2002, the following election in 2007, they voted for Mwai Kibaki 97% and a PNU. They rejected J.B. Muturi with PNU and elected Lene Kevuti and a Safina. In 2013, the people of Bere North, like the rest of the mountain, they voted for Uhuru Kenyatta and a TNA, went ahead to elect GACHAGUA and Abbas. That's how dynamic it is. All those people in Bere, including those who voted for the UDA candidate, are one-term people. In matters presidential, the people of Bere North and Bere South, they vote with the rest of the mountain. That's why I'm not even bothered myself. It's not even an issue. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even an issue because I understand the dynamics of those two constituencies and the way the UDA can celebrate. It's a forced celebration, even themselves. Even Ruto himself, he knows. If you spend 800 million for 15,000 votes, yeah, a vote is worth almost 60,000. I mean, what are you saying? What are you telling people?
I mean, in that election...
And the opposition did not have money to spend. They have stolen money from nobody. They have no access to public funds. They were just selling policies. They were just selling their candidate. When you spend 800 million in a constituency, that's why they are own. Kila mtu atakuwa kwake, anang'ang'ana kwake. Mtu atakuwa Sugoi, there will be no goons to help you. There will be no police to help you. You will have to go and fight your own battle.
In Bere, as we just wrap up the conversation around that, there is the aspect that is Moses Kuria part of United Opposition, because we saw him present a candidate through Chama cha Kazi, and in your own deduction, would you say that affected in one way or another?
It did. It did. You see, when the elders of Bere approached me, it's because of the clan dynamics. Newton Karis and Boy, the one who was in DCP who went to Kuria, come from one clan. And the elders told me, if we have the two candidates, it's not good. You know, the other guy, the one who is said to have won, comes from a different clan. So they asked me to step down this guy